I had slept with my friend's mother, and I really didn't recognize that it was wrong at the time, but I do know that it was wrong now. And I apologized to the woman's daughters. I was actually friends with one of her daughters, and her other daughter worked for the DA in Cleveland Parish, and she's the one that pressed charges on me.
So, how old was the victim in this case at the time of the offense? Do you know about?
In her 70s.
And you're here because you have applied for parole, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman, to my right, and the rest of us have read your case, so we're familiar with it, but he's going to be the lead interviewer, so I'm going to go directly to him and turn it over to him.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Prater. Okay, Mr. Howell, I'm gonna put some preliminary information into the record. You are officially classified as a second felony offender. Your parole date was 10/17/24. Your good time date is 4/20/28. Full term date is 8/3/2030. You had a total sentence of 13 years and 2 months for the offenses of third degree rape and possession of alprolazam and probation technical felony, which you must have got revoked while you was for this charge. Is that all sound correct, Mr. Howell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, while we have you there, did he complete a sex offender treatment? I see he did 1 and 2.
Yes, sir. So I'll remind the board, our credit is put in differently than anywhere else. And so whenever it says Bossier sex offender treatment 1 and 2, it really means all 4 phases of sex offender treatment. And he has not technically completed yet, but he is going to finish on the 28th of this month. There's really nothing stopping him at this point. He's going to graduate.
All right. All right. And Warden, do you have anything to say about him? Any comments, any problems y'all have with him, anything like that?
No, sir, we ain't had no issues out of him at all, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Howell, first off, tell us what you did to get yourself put in prison and why do you think you're ready for release today?
I had slept with my friend's mother, and I really didn't recognize that it was wrong at the time, but I do know that it was wrong now. And I apologized to the woman's daughters. I was actually friends with one of her daughters, and her other daughter worked for the DA in Cleveland Parish, and she's the one that pressed charges on me. So I know what I done was wrong. I regret it, and I feel like I've paid for my.
Okay, and why do you think you should get out? Think you paid for your time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how old was the victim in this case at the time of the offense? Do you know about?
In her 70s.
Okay. And I just want you to note for the record that the victim family is strongly opposed. Everyone that we spoke to in the family is opposed. You know, and she had to go to a nursing home after this event. Do you kind of realize now what kind of trauma you caused this lady?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you ever took victim awareness?
Victim awareness.
Here, let me help you answer that question. For people in his program, we have a version of victims awareness for sex offenders. It's called empathy and awareness, and he has taken that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
Mr. Howell, the classes you're taking now, what are you learning from them? Can you tell me something about it?
We took stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 on risk management. And then I've done completed mass and empathy and awareness and living in balance.
Which one is impacting you the most? What did you learn from it?
The risk factors, the risk management.
What'd you get out of that?
I learned that you can't be in denial, and ain't no use in trying to justify nothing that you've done wrong. And I take responsibility for my actions, and sorry for what I've done.
Okay, I have no questions. Okay,
Let me ask you, what you say, it's kind of interesting. You said at the time you didn't know it was wrong, but you know it was wrong now. What kind of condition was this 70-something-year-old lady in?
She had a disability.
What kind of disability?
Uh, what do you call it?
Was it mental?
Alzheimer's.
Okay. So you knew she couldn't give consent because she wasn't capable of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
In what world could you not have realized that was wrong?
I wasn't thinking.
was him.
Okay, were you on drugs or anything, or
Yes, sir.
what kind of drugs?
Hydrocodone and somas.
All right. Have you taken some substance abuse classes?
I took AANA at Cleveland Parish and Celebrate Recovery, and I took mass here.
Okay. That's all I've got.
How long have you been incarcerated?
11 years.
And you're serving a 13-year sentence?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No other questions, Mr. Freeman? I think it's your vote.
Okay, first, none of your good time is on your record. So I'm not sure whether maybe you can't, no, you got to earn it because you got a good time date. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they hadn't got into time comp yet, but we need to make sure all those classes are completed, especially substance abuse and pre-release. At this time, we need to talk to the victims. Miss Patricia Gross, we'd like to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, first off, when he said that I worked at the DA's office and I'm the one that had him arrested, that's not the case. So again, he's blaming me for what his actions were. He done this himself. The cops were called. The cops is the ones that arrested him. The DA's office itself didn't have anything to do with this. And we turned it over to the Attorney General's office to prosecute. So no, I did not have anything to do with him being arrested. My mother was not in her 70s. She was 80 years old, and she had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's for about 3 years prior to this happening. Yes, she was living at home by herself. I had a sister living there with her at the time, but we didn't expect her to stay there 24/7. And yes, he might have been a friend of the other sister, but that still didn't give him the right to sleep with my mother that had Alzheimer's, that couldn't even remember who he even was. Didn't he know who I was? So no, I'm not going to take that he's blaming me still for this right here. He has wrote me many, many, many letters before he got incarcerated, telling me that my mother asked for it. No, she did not. So that's really about all I have to say right now.
Hey, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Okay, is Miss Cindy White there with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Miss Cindy, what do you have to tell the board?
I'm so angry because we were taking care of her at home. We had been taking care of her at home. After this was done to her, we had to put her in the nursing home. To us, that sentenced her death right there. And she was my best friend. I would go pick her up. We would go get ice cream and go riding. I feel like even with her having Alzheimer's, I could have continued to do that for a few more years. and
He took
enjoy
that.
life with my best friend. I cry every day for her, even after 5 years. I would like to know why, but I won't ever get that answer. Why did he do this?
Okay, Ms. White, I have just one question for you.
Yes,
You
sir.
knew him. Did he know your mother had Alzheimer's since you had
Yes,
been
sir.
known?
He most certainly did. We knew we knew his dad. I know his brother. They are great people. He knew she had Alzheimer's.
Okay, yes,
And
he's.
it would be like he would come in her house during the day when he knew Pat was at work and I was probably on the road because I drove a truck.
Mhm.
He never went in at night, but it was during the day
When
that
he
he
knew,
would go in and do whatever he did to her. And she would tell me, she would cry and tell me, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I had to live with, did he just leave out of her house? Had he just finished pleasuring himself off of her and her not knowing and not and her hurting?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I got you. Appreciate y'all joining us today. I know
Thank y'all.
very, very hard. Okay, I'm ready to vote when y'all are.
Ready?
Okay, due to him knowing the state of the victim and he only got a 13-year sentence on a horrific charge, my vote today is to deny. And victim opposition.
I concur with Mr. Freeman.
Okay, and I concur with Mr. Freeman. The time is 9:36. Your parole has been denied. That's the end of the hearing, 9:36. Good morning, Miss Gilly. How are you doing? Your name is Jessica Gilly, correct?
Correct. Yes. Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. And you're at Washita Parish Female Center, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is anybody in the staff with you there? Would you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, Deputy Marchand.
Okay, all righty, and we're here to talk to Jessica because she has applied for parole. Is that correct, Jessica?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay, well, we're in Baton Rouge and you can see our names from our name tags. The time is 9 o'clock in the morning. Today is Wednesday, June the 4th, and we're here to talk about your parole, which you're fixing to be paroled out fairly quickly anyway. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so I got just a couple of questions. Have you paid all of your court costs yet?
I'm not quite sure, sir. I was on felony probation and then I was picked up on new charges and was revoked.
Okay.
So I do pay $50 a month for probation and parole fees.
Okay, but I really don't think that you've paid off all the court costs, according to the record that I see.
How much are they?
And what about your pre-release and your substance abuse training? Have you had any of that?
Well, when I was in Tallulah for 8 months, I did write and request for classes several times. I was never put into them. So I was screened for work release and was pulled for this program. I have wrote for classes during the course of my time here, and I've been in this program for well over a year, and I have not been put in classes here. But I did take it upon myself to do online classes while I was at work. I paid for some online classes. They're each is a 4-hour course. I did one for substance and alcohol abuse, and because I do have drug charges. And I did do a parenting class, which is also a 4-hour course. I do have children. So I do have those. Deputy Osborne, she emailed those to you, but I don't know if you received them or not. I do have paper copies here if you'd like to see, if that helps.
I've got those 2 certificates that you have for the 4-hour courses.
Yes, sir.
And to be eligible for parole, you're supposed to go through an approved substance abuse because of your charges. And
I understand.
one thing
yeah.
I noticed that you filled out and you said, quote, no substance abuse treatment needed.
I have been sober for over 2 years now, but I do understand addiction will always be a thing. And I would like to do NA classes if I were to parole out. Even when I go December 2nd, I would like to do NA classes just to keep
Right.
myself sharp.
You're gonna need some continued substance abuse treatment from what I'm seeing on your history.
Yes,
It
sir.
would be my recommendation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, no write-ups.
No, sir.
You're a second felony offender, but it's always been drugs,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
You were unsuccessful in your previous probation.
Right. Yes, sir. I was revoked for more drug charges.
Okay, and
It
so
was-
what, if we were to recommend, and that's all we can do as a board is recommend that you go to a facility that has the long-term substance abuse before you get out in December. I know that's going to affect your jobs. And I know that the folks there think a lot of you.
Yes, sir. I
where
work
you-
7 nights a week.
Right, and you make good money and you're able to put that aside. But if we put you in a facility that has this training, you're gonna have to give up those jobs and that money in order to take the substance abuse, long-term substance.
Marchand, if he has that over there.
Okay, do they have long-term substance abuse?
Do they have the substance abuse class and, pre-release over there?
No, sir, no long-term substance abuse program. I believe there might be a risk management class we offer, but that's the extent.
She needs her substance abuse class and she needs her, yeah. So, and that's gonna put you out immediately, because you're gonna get credit for those classes. But the problem is, that by law, you got to have those classes. So
Okay.
if they don't have them now, we need to move you unless, or you're gonna sit there until the 25th.
Until December 2nd.
Yeah. And by the way, just wanted to point out, you have, like Mr. Prater said, you've done excellent working 2, 3 jobs. I mean, nothing with great letters.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
No.
Okay,
So we're gonna recommend that she get some, move her to get some other treatment.
or else take the treatment there.
Yeah, they got the class there, take the class there,
Okay.
because
Okay.
she still can work.
All right, are we prepared to vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I cast the first vote because this happened to be my case. My case is that at this particular time, we can say it either way, deny your parole requests, or else we could grant your parole request with
Upon
you
completion of those
upon
two.
completion of your substance abuse treatment and paying off your court costs and all your fees. So, I guess that'd be the way to say it. Correct, Mr. Freeman, you think would be
We
the
can't,
grant?
we can't order her fees.
Okay,
So, but yeah, I would say let's grant upon completion of substance abuse. And, what other class she had?
There was substance
pre-release.
And pre-release, substance abuse and pre-release. Upon completion of those 2 classes, you can get out.
Okay.
Okay, that's my vote is like Mr. Freeman saying, is that we grant your parole with the condition that you complete the substance abuse plan and the pre-release plan, pre-release training. And then you could be granted your parole. Probably by the time you get all that done and get your good time, then you'd be getting out anyway. So
Right.
that's my vote.
I concur with Mr. Prater.
Yeah, grant conditionally upon completing the required, substance abuse and, keep forgetting the other class.
Pre-release.
Pre-release class. So upon completion of those 2 classes, you will be released. If they have them there, great. If not, then we need to get you.
I don't think they have them here.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to get you moved.
Yeah, those
Hopefully
have to be done before you can be released.
quickly. We want this lady
Yes,
moved,
sir.
staff. So,
Okay, all right, well, that's gonna conclude this here and then. The time is 9:12, and you'll be hearing more about where you'll be going and when, and and all that, but it's a short term. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, thank you.
Keep doing good.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Keep doing good. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Mr. Simeon, Larry, are you Larry Simeon?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is your DOC number?
Sir,
What is your Department of Corrections number?
458042.
Okay. And you were at Jefferson Davis Correctional Center,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody in the room with you from Jefferson Davis?
No, sir.
Okay. You're here for a revocation here, and you're talking to us, and we're in Baton Rouge. The time is 9:44 in the morning. Today's date is June the 4th, Wednesday. Chuck Tillis and Pete Freeman and myself, Steve Prater, are on the board. We're going to decide whether you should be allowed to get out or not. Your case is being handled today by Mr. Tillis. And Mr. Tillis, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you something. I'm sorry. Do you have a piece of paper in front of you where you signed your name to it?
Oh, yes, sir. I left it in the back.
Okay, well, we're going to show it to you. I want you to identify. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you'd gone over that questionnaire and agreed to it and signed it. Okay, Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Simeon, how are you this morning?
All right.
You violated rule number 4. You failed to refrain from criminal activities as evident by your arrest on 1/27/25 by the Welch Police Department for domestic abuse and battery. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or with a statement?
Not guilty.
Not guilty?
No, sir.
Okay.
Oh, you talking about?
I'm sorry.
You say on the charges I'm on, right?
On the charges, yes.
Yeah, that's not guilty. I ain't
Okay.
nothing to do with none of that, sir.
You had nothing to do with that?
Yeah, you told me the domestic abuse I come to jail on?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I ain't had nothing to do with that.
Well, what happened? How did you get involved, or how did you?
It's a female that I've been dealing with for like maybe 3 years, and I got another female, and she got in her feelings on something, and she wanted me to go pick up from work, and I had one pick her up from work, and I dropped off. So I left, and somehow she called along to say that I had something to do with it, and I would have never went at her house. I waited somewhere else, and then all of a sudden, then the people come over there, the Wells police officer come over there by my mother's house and said something about if I had something to do with Keith the Alpha. I said no, sir. And then they just put me to jail. And then she went right after Davis and said that I ain't nothing to do with it.
So you didn't break in her house?
No, sir. No, I didn't. I swear I didn't, sir.
You didn't hit her?
No, sir.
Why would she make those accusations?
Because it's a long history dealing with her. Like I said, I was messing with her for 3 years before I come home on this other little joke I was on. And then I didn't want to mess with her no more. And then I guess she got in her feelings, and then she wanted to put the people in my life. And that's before they went.
I see.
Because they ain't no pictures or nothing. They could have took pictures and everything. I ain't no marks on me or nothing, sir.
Okay. We have pictures of her with bruises on her and the door knocked in and all of that.
Yeah, I know. But I ain't had no bruise on me in my hands and no bruise or nothing. I ain't had nothing to do with none of that stuff. None of that.
I see. Any questions from you guys?
I just got one question. Are you still talking to this lady?
No, sir.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
No, I want to go to executive session.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion and second going to executive session. Time is 9:47 in the morning. Would you take a vote, please?
Freeman.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna be in executive session for just a minute. Stand by. It's 9:47.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the time is 9:48 in the morning. We're going to take a vote to come back in from executive session. Can I have a motion and a second to come?
I move that we go back to regular session.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. So we're back into regular session. And so, the time is 9:48. I think we're prepared to vote.
Wait.
Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Simeon, are you planning to have any more contact with this female?
No, sir.
Or do you live near her?
No, sir. My mother stayed like They stay in the same town, but like maybe 3 streets over, but it's in the same town though.
Okay. My vote is going to be to do not revoke, but with the condition that you have no contact with this woman or be around her.
Yes, sir.
And if you do, then there are going to be some consequences.
Yes, sir.
I concur with him. Do not revoke. Special conditions, stay away from this lady. I'm gonna put her name in the record. If you get caught around her, they're gonna arrest you. So if you
Yes,
see her,
sir.
walk the other way, okay?
Yes,
Don't
sir.
go pick up from work for sure.
Yes, sir. You're right.
Okay. All right, and I concur with that. So as of today, you're not been revoked, but you've got orders to stay away from that lady, and we don't necessarily buy that this didn't happen. Okay?
Yes, sir.
But that's the record, and that's all we have to go on at this particular time. So you're not revoked, but stay away from the lady.
Yes, sir. I will.
Okay, the time is 9:50 in the morning. That's the end of this hearing. I think that's the end of all of our hearings for today, so we'll be signing off. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.